Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today we're diving into something that holds many of us back, the fear of judgment and rejection. Whether it's speaking up in class, sharing something online, or just being yourself, that fear can stop you from moving forward. But you're not alone. In this episode, we'll talk about why this fear exists, how it affects us, and most importantly, how to overcome it. If you ever felt stuck because of what others might think, this episode is for you. Let's begin. Fear of judgment is something that we all experience to some degree. It's a natural human emotion that stems from our deep-seated need for social acceptance. We live in a world where relationships and social connections are fundamental, and because of this, we are wired to care about what others think. This fear often stems from the desire to be accepted, liked, and understood by others. It's a survival instinct built into us over centuries, as humans have always depended on social groups for support and protection. In the past, being excluded or judged negatively could mean being cast out of community, which was a serious threat to survival. Today, even though those dangers aren't as immediate, that same deep-rooted fear remains with us, causing us to be concerned about how we are perceived by others. This fear is universal. No matter how confident someone may seem on the outside, they've likely dealt with feelings of judgment and rejection at some point. What's important to realize is that this fear is not something we can completely eliminate, but rather something we can learn to understand and manage. By acknowledging that it's a normal part of being human, we can start to separate ourselves from the fear and not let it dictate our actions or hold us back from being authentic. Rejection often feels incredibly personal, but in reality, it rarely is. When we experience rejection, it's easy to feel like it's a direct reflection of our worth, as if it means we're not good enough or we've somehow failed. Whether it's not getting the job we applied for, not being invited to an event, or having a relationship end, rejection hits us hard and makes us question ourselves. We tend to internalize rejection, thinking that the outcome is a measure of who we are as people, and that can be a painful way to approach life. However, the truth is that rejection is rarely about us personally. It's often tied to other factors, like timing, the needs of others, or circumstances that are completely out of our control. For instance, if you don't get a job, it might be because the employer was looking for specific skills or experience that you don't have, or perhaps another candidate was simply a better fit for their team. It's not a judgment on your abilities or your worth as a person. The same goes for social situations. People may reject invitations for reasons that have nothing to do with us. They could be busy or in a different headspace, or simply have their own reasons that are unrelated to how they feel about us. When we realize this, we can begin to separate ourselves from rejection and stop taking it so personally. Rejection is just a part of life, and while it can sting, it doesn't define us. It's not a reflection of who we are, but rather a natural part of putting ourselves out into the world and facing the realities of human interaction. By shifting our perspective, we can learn to accept rejection as something temporary and external, rather than something that impacts our self-worth. Everyone experiences this fear, even confident or successful people. It's easy to look at others, especially those who seem confident or successful, and assume they don't deal with the same fears we do. But the truth is, no one is immune to the fear of judgment and rejection. Even the most successful people, those we admire for their confidence and achievements, have moments of self-doubt and fear of being judged. What sets them apart is not that they don't feel the fear, but that they've learned how to push through it. They've developed strategies to manage their emotions and not let the fear hold them back. Confidence doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means being able to move forward despite it. When we realize that everyone, no matter their status or success, faces this fear, it becomes easier to accept it as a normal part of the human experience. It also helps to remind ourselves that we're not alone in our struggles, and that others have successfully navigated through similar feelings. Judgment is often more a reflection of the person doing the judging than it is about you. It's so easy to internalize someone else's opinion of us and believe that it somehow defines who we are. But the reality is that people's judgment are influenced by their own life experiences, insecurities, values, and biases. When someone judges us, it's not necessarily about us at all. It's more about their own perceptions and beliefs. For example, what one person finds strange, unusual, or unacceptable could be something perfectly normal to someone else. People interpret the world around them based on their personal histories and a lens through which they view life. So when we feel judged, it's helpful to remember that the judgment we're facing often reflects the other person's inner world, not our true self. This understanding can be incredibly freeing because it allows us to separate ourselves from the opinions of others. It reminds us that we don't have to take on other people's judgments as our own truth. Just because someone has an opinion about us doesn't mean it's a valid or accurate reflection of who we are. In fact, many times, judgments come from a place of insecurity or misunderstanding, and that's not something we need to absorb. Instead, we can learn to observe judgment from others with empathy and understanding, recognizing that it says more about their worldview than it does about our actions or character. This shift in perspective helps us build resilience, allowing us to stay true to ourselves without being overly affected by the judgments of others. Trying to please everyone leads to losing yourself. It's natural to want to be liked and accepted, but constantly trying to please everyone can have a negative impact on your sense of self. When we focus too much on meeting the expectations of others, we start to lose touch with who we really are and what we truly want. We may find ourselves agreeing with opinions that don't align with our values, or taking actions that don't reflect our true desires, simply because we want to avoid conflict or gain approval. This can leave us feeling empty, disconnected, and uncertain of what we stand for. Pleasing others might give us temporary validation, but it doesn't bring long-term happiness or fulfillment. In the end, the more we try to be what everyone else wants, the more we forget what we need for ourselves. It's important to set boundaries and focus on being true to yourself, even if it means disappointing some people along the way. When you stop trying to please everyone, you free yourself to live authentically and find the people who appreciate you for who you really are. Avoiding rejection keeps you from growing or taking chances. It's natural to want to avoid rejection because it feels painful, but if we let the fear of being rejected control us, we miss out on opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Rejection is an inevitable part of life, especially when we step out of our comfort zones or try something new. If we only stick to what's safe and familiar, we never give ourselves a chance to expand our horizons, learn from our mistakes, or discover our true potential. Every time we face rejection, it's an opportunity to learn something valuable. We might not get the job, the friendship, or the outcome we hope for, but we gain experience that helps us grow stronger and more resilient. Avoiding rejection keeps us stuck in a cycle of comfort, but embracing it opens a door to new possibilities and greater personal development. Rejection is not the end of the road. It's a stepping stone on the way to success. The more we put ourselves out there, the more we learn to handle rejection and turn it into a positive force in our lives. Social media can intensify fear of being judged. Take breaks if needed. In today's world, social media is a huge part of our lives, and while it can be a great way to connect with others, it can also amplify our fear of judgment. On social platforms, we constantly see people's highlight reels, only the best moments, filtered and curated for maximum appeal. This can create an unrealistic standard and make us feel like we don't measure up. We might start comparing ourselves to others, worrying about how we appear, or stressing over the possibility of being judged for what we post. The constant exposure to other people's opinions and feedback can make us more sensitive to judgment, and over time, it can wear us down. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed or anxious due to social media, it's okay to take a step back. Taking breaks from social media can help you regain perspective and remind you that the online world isn't always a true reflection of reality. It allows you to reconnect with yourself, focus on what really matters, and reduce the pressure of seeking validation from others. Social media can be a valuable tool, but it's important to use it in a way that doesn't negatively affect your mental health or self-esteem. Self-worth shouldn't depend on others' opinions. It's easy to fall into the trap of letting the opinions of others define how we see ourselves. Whether it's feedback from friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers on social media, we often find ourselves adjusting our behavior or decisions to match what others expect or approve of. However, basing our self-worth on external validation can lead to constant insecurity and a lack of authenticity. People's opinions are subjective and can change from one day to the next, so it's unreliable to tie your sense of self to them. True self-worth comes from within. It's about recognizing your own value, regardless of how others perceive you. When you build your self-esteem based on your own beliefs, values, and achievements, you're less affected by criticism or praise. Instead of seeking validation from others, focus on nurturing your own confidence and self-love. This shift in perspective helps you stay grounded in who you truly are and empowers you to live life on your own terms, without constantly needing approval from the outside world. Reframe rejection as redirection or protection from something not meant for you. Rejection can be painful, and it's easy to feel discouraged when things don't go our way. However, instead of seeing rejection as a failure, try to reframe it as a form of redirection. Sometimes, what we think we want or need may not be what's best for us in the long run. Rejection might be guiding us towards something better, even if we can't see it at the moment. It could be protecting us from situations, people, or opportunities that aren't in alignment with our true path or values. In this light, rejection becomes a tool for growth rather than a setback. It helps clear the way for something more suitable or meaningful to come into our lives. When you experience rejection, remind yourself that it's not the end. It's simply life pointing you in a new direction, towards something that may serve you better. Embracing this perspective can make rejection feel less personal and more like an important part of your journey. Small acts of courage, like sharing an opinion or stepping out of your comfort zone, are the foundation for building confidence over time. Confidence doesn't develop overnight. It's something we cultivate gradually through consistent, small actions that challenge us to face our fears. Every time we push ourselves to do something that feels a bit uncomfortable or risky, we are reinforcing our belief in our own abilities. This might look like speaking up at a meeting, sharing a personal story with a group, or even just voicing an opinion we might normally keep to ourselves. These seemingly small moments are powerful because they show us that we are capable of more than we think. They may feel intimidating at first, and the fear, judgment, or rejection might try to hold us back. But with each step, we gain a little more strength. Over time, these acts of courage build upon each other, and what initially felt overwhelming becomes easier to navigate. The more we practice stepping outside our comfort zones, the more confident we become in our own ability to handle discomfort, uncertainty, and even failure. It's a process of proving to ourselves that we are capable of taking risks and that we can survive, even thrive, through challenges. Confidence is a muscle, and just like any other muscle, the more we use it, the stronger it gets. Eventually, we find ourselves more willing to take on bigger challenges because we've accumulated experience and resilience from all those smaller steps. So, instead of waiting for a big moment to build confidence, start by taking those little steps today. Each one is a victory that contributes to your overall growth and self-assurance. Failure or rejection is a step toward success, not the end of it. It's easy to view failure and rejection as the end of the road, but in reality, they're often key turning points on the journey to success. Every successful person has encountered setbacks along the way, whether it's a failed project, a rejection letter, or a difficult experience that didn't go as planned. What sets them apart is how they view these setbacks. Instead of seeing them as failures, they understand that failure is simply part of the learning process. Each rejection or failure provides valuable feedback, showing us what doesn't work and pushing us to try new approaches or strategies. In fact, many breakthroughs happen because of the lessons learned from past mistakes. Failure doesn't define our abilities. It refines them, helping us grow stronger and more resilient. It's a natural part of the process that moves us closer to our goals. So, instead of fearing failure or rejection, embrace them as essential stepping stones toward success. They are not the end, but simply a part of the journey that brings us closer to where we want to be. Focus on your goals, not on others' reactions. It's easy to get distracted by how others perceive us or what they think about our actions, especially when we're trying to achieve something important. Whether we're working on a personal project, pursuing a career, or taking on a new challenge, it's tempting to seek approval or fear judgment from others. However, constantly worrying about others' reactions can derail us from our true purpose. The most successful people are often those who stay focused on their own goals, regardless of external opinions. When you prioritize your own vision and what you want to accomplish, you'll find that the noise from others becomes less important. This focus allows you to stay aligned with your true desires and ambitions without getting swayed by the distractions of judgment or rejection. It's important to remember that no one else will understand your goals and dreams as deeply as you do, so it's essential to trust in yourself and stay committed to your own path. By concentrating on your goals, you build momentum, resilience, and ultimately the success that comes from staying true to your vision. Use rejection as feedback, not as a final judgment. When we face rejection, it's easy to take it personally and view it as a final statement about our worth or abilities. However, rejection doesn't define us. It's simply a form of feedback that can help us grow. Instead of seeing rejection as a door that's been slammed in our face, try to view it as an opportunity to learn and improve. What went wrong? What could you do differently next time? This mindset shift turns rejection into a tool for self-reflection and growth, rather than something to fear or avoid. For example, if you didn't get the job you wanted, it doesn't mean you're not qualified or capable. It just means that particular opportunity wasn't the right fit for you at that time. Perhaps you can gain valuable insights by asking for feedback on your interview or reviewing your application. This constructive feedback can help you refine your approach and be better prepared for the next opportunity. Rejection doesn't mean failure. It's a chance to improve and adjust your strategy. Every rejection brings you one step closer to success because it helps you learn what works and what doesn't. When you shift your perspective in this way, you'll find that rejection becomes less intimidating and more empowering as it moves you toward the future you want to create. Build a support system that encourages your authentic self. Navigating the fear of judgment and rejection becomes much easier when you have a solid support system of people who truly understand and encourage you for who you really are. Surrounding yourself with friends, family, or mentors who accept you without judgment can create a safe space where you feel valued for your authentic self. These people don't expect you to be perfect or to always conform to social pressures. They appreciate you for your uniqueness and are there to support you through your struggles. Having a strong support network means you have people to lean on when you face rejection or criticism. They can remind you of your worth, help you see the bigger picture, and provide valuable perspective. These supportive relationships give you the confidence to stay true to yourself, even when others may not understand or accept your choices. When you know that you have a group of people who genuinely have your back, you feel more empowered to take risks, make mistakes, and continue pursuing your goals. It's important to actively cultivate relationships with those who lift you up and help you stay grounded in your values, rather than those who contribute to your fear of judgment or rejection. Building a support system like this helps you navigate life with more resilience, knowing that you're not facing challenges alone. The only opinion that truly matters is how you see yourself. While it's natural to care about the opinions of others, at the end of the day, the most important perspective is the one you hold about yourself. Others may judge, criticize, or praise you based on their own experiences, biases, and expectations, but those opinions don't define your worth. Your sense of self-worth should come from within, based on your own values, beliefs, and achievements. When you cultivate self-respect and confidence, you become less vulnerable to the judgment of others. You'll find that you're able to take criticism constructively without letting it undermine your sense of self, and you'll embrace your strengths and weaknesses without shame. The way you perceive yourself shapes your confidence, resilience, and the way you navigate the world. So, rather than seeking validation from others, focus on building a positive and authentic relationship with yourself. The more you affirm your own value, the less you'll be affected by external opinions. Ultimately, the only opinion that should hold weight in your life is your own. Because when you believe in yourself, you're less likely to be swayed by anyone else's judgment. In conclusion, overcoming the fear of judgment and rejection is a journey that requires self-awareness, courage, and a shift in perspective. Rejection and judgment are natural parts of life, but they don't have to define you. By reframing rejection as redirection, focusing on your goals, building confidence through small acts of courage, and creating a support system that encourages your authentic self, you can navigate these challenges with resilience. Ultimately, the most important opinion is how you view yourself. When you embrace your own worth, regardless of external feedback, you can move forward with confidence, knowing that you are enough just as you are. Remember, the fear of judgment and rejection doesn't have to hold you back. It can be a stepping stone to greater growth and success. Keep taking those small steps toward embracing your true self, and you'll find that you have the strength to face whatever comes your way.